Derry is famous for many things, but this city is also the European capital of Halloween. Oh! You can see why they filmed Game of Thrones here, because it has a kind of fantastical element to the coastline.
Definitely, yeah.
Shocks away! You're not dealing with a predictable vehicle with 4 wheels or even 2 wheels. Whoa! I can see the summit. Is that where we're aiming for?
Well, we're hitting that ridge and we're going to try and get the top of it.
Welcome to Adventure Cities, where this week we're exploring the Halloween capital of Europe, Derry, Northern Ireland. Perched at the northern end of Northern Ireland, Derry is an ancient city crammed with history, which also boasts unbeatable access to the great outdoors. Derry is one of Europe's finest walled cities. Despite several sieges, its 400-year-old defences were never breached, and walking the mile-long fortifications is a great introduction to this pretty town. Once marked by the Irish troubles of the 20th century, Derry has emerged as a city of conciliation and creativity, embodied by its latest addition, uniting both sides of the river. Derry spans both sides of the River Foyle, linked by the iconic Peace Bridge. The Peace Bridge, which opened in 2011, uniting the two sides of Derry, was a statement about the future as much as the past. From its ancient walls to the green hills and rugged coastline beyond, Derry, or Londonderry to give its full, if rarely used name, is a vibrant modern city which strikes the perfect balance between a rich arts and culture hub and ideal jumping-off point for a long list of adventure sports. Above all, this is a city that warmly welcomes all who come to explore its distinctive spirit. Derry is famous for many things, not least of all Derry Girls, the smash hit show on Netflix. But this city is also the European capital of Halloween. And I'm on my way to meet someone who can tell me a little bit more about that history. You must be David. Very nice to meet you.
Great to meet you, JJ.
Yeah, so we're going to be finding out a little bit about Halloween.
Yes, we'll tell you a story of Halloween originated in this city.
Right, and like all good stories, I think it needs a beer. So, right now we are on Waterloo Street. It's also the heart of where the Halloween celebrations began. Is that right?
That is right. The story is that at one time, sort of shortly after the end of the Troubles, one of the bars had a fancy dress party. And was common enough in those times, there was a bomb scare, and everybody ended up on the street. So all the other bars and all the people were all gathered together. Some people thought, those guys look to be having a bit of fun. And so the next year, about 5 or 6 bars decided to have a fancy dress evening. So the whole thing sort of just grew from that point of view.
And the Halloween celebrations here have now grown into the biggest in Europe.
Yeah.
Which is extraordinary.
It is. And I say, it's a real plus for the city. We consider ourselves second only now to Mexico City in terms of Halloween celebrations.
The Wild Atlantic Way is really popular with tourists because it's a piece of the most rugged coast anywhere in Europe. And I got the opportunity to do it in incredible style. Hi, I'm Jonathan.
Hi, Josh. Nice to meet you. I'm Jason Bill.
Very nice to meet you. So, wow, this is our ride for today.
Yes, this is our Robinson R44 helicopter. We use this for the sightseeing tours up along the coastline.
Oh, it's just like getting into an Uber. All right, ready for takeoff. Really looking forward to this. We took off from Derry Airport and we flew low down this incredibly dramatic coast. On the right-hand side is Northern Ireland and on the left is the Republic.
And that's where the ferry goes across from Greencastle, this harbour, right across to McGilligan Point.
And some of these beaches are just gorgeous. They look like they could be in the Bahamas or something, but they're right here in Ireland. And look at the little patch of sun coming through. There must be a pot of gold down there or something.
You might find the leprechauns, the pot of gold.
Look at the drama.
Yeah. A lot of these areas you can't see from the ground. You can either see it from a boat or from a helicopter.
You can see why they love filming movies and TV shows on this part of the coast, can't you?
Of course.
It's got a real kind of Hollywood vibe to it.
Yeah, it's got a great backdrop. So if you look straight in front of you at the moment, you'll see the headland there, and that's Malin Head. You can't get any more northerly than that.
The coastline is just extraordinary, the Wild Atlantic Way. This has inspired me to hike some of this coast. Traditionally, the back garden of Derry is Donegal, and the countryside that surrounds Derry is technically in the Republic of Ireland, but the people here still use it as their playground. Just 20 minutes outside the city and you're in this stunning rolling countryside, which looks like it's postcard perfect everywhere you turn.
Loken.
Pleased to meet you.
Very nice to meet you as well.
Welcome to Donegal. We're generally quite an economically underrepresented area. So the benefits of that type of thing is that you've usually got less industry. You've got a wilder countryside that hasn't been as developed. We are actually blessed with this type of beaches right along this coastline. We have beach upon beach, and this kind of time of year, they're fairly left to the locals.
Yeah.
But generally speaking, we still are very lucky in Donegal to have a kind of landscape that's by and large unspoiled.
Yeah.
Within a few minutes of getting out of the car and starting the hike, Lorcan had seen an opportunity to buy a local snack, which is called dulse.
Like, we have hundreds of varieties of seaweed in Ireland, but this is the one that people commonly eat, because as you can taste, it's quite palatable. Yeah, it's the kind of thing you nibble as you go along.
And this is going to give us energy for our hike today.
Well, it's certainly going to give us plenty of salt content. Well, today we're in a few areas, mostly the Uris Hills, which are on the western side of Inishowen. And it's quite a steep ridge that runs from one estuary in the west, the Swilly, across to about the middle of Inishowen.
I actually couldn't believe the amount of sheep just hanging about on the sea cliffs. I mean, there's hundreds of feet right next to them just going into the Atlantic Ocean. The sheep are just chewing a bit of grass, hanging out.
The geological map of Ireland is almost like a painting if you look at it, and you have the different rocks coloured differently.
Yeah.
And this outcrop in particular is predominantly granite. So once the higher up you get, the more you get of quartz and granite rocks. So it's really geologically quite diverse.
Okay.
And creates quite a dramatic hillside here, running right down to the sea.
Whoa! Awesome. That is an epic waterfall. All right, I can see the summit. Is that where we're aiming for?
Well, we're hitting that ridge anyway, Jonathan, so we're looking at the lovely limestone rock, I believe, up there, and we're going to try and get on the top of it and scale up that ridge.
That exposure to weather for so long has created a uniquely beautiful setting, and that lends itself to spectacular hiking.
In most Irish places, you can tell something about the place from the name.
Yeah.
So it usually means something. So is the word for yew tree in Irish. So it's possible to get some resonance there that there was a plantation or an area of the yew tree. So you can see yew trees, the traditional Irish yew is always planted in a graveyard because it is associated with transformation and death.
So this is the perfect hike for Halloween.
Well, there we go. We managed to get a good link in with Halloween, exactly.
So this particular hike had an endpoint which Lorcan had decided previously without telling me, and he kept it as a surprise. We hiked up to this waterfall hidden in a natural valley, and we're going to swim in it.
We've now come to a lovely glen which is called Glen Evan, and we're going to explore the beautiful Glen Evan waterfall.
The water obviously was very, very cold, so we had to prepare with some breathing techniques.
Here we've got all these little environmental deities. So we got the ferns, we got the holly, we got the mountain ash, we got the birds, we got the waterfall, and they're like, ooh, like what the hell are these two about to do? Like, we don't really see these people around too much. We're really interested. That's the way I like to think, because I like to be in communication with them.
And it worked. It really worked. By the time we got into the cold water, my body and mind were prepared for it. And Lorcan kind of semi-jokingly described it as a rebaptism, but in some ways it felt a little bit like that. It felt a little bit like shocking away the stresses and strains and worries of the everyday world.
Let's not wait to blow away the Halloween cobwebs!
Just outside Derry, I stumble upon a spot offering a fantastic variety of unique outdoor games, perfect for those of a competitive nature.
Ramada.
I'm Jonathan.
Nice to meet you, Jonathan.
So it looks like a standard golf course.
It is, yes. We got 18 holes, but we also got different obstacles in every hole.
What's the bet? Cup of coffee?
Cup of coffee will do.
All right. It functioned just like a round of golf. You have to get the ball past obstacles and around dog legs and over the bunkers. That's just really good fun.
There we go!
There was a lot of laughter and a lot of trick shots that didn't quite work. Oh no! Oh, right back off the hay bale. In the end, sadly,
well done.
he beat me over the whole course by 2 shots. I decided that I couldn't take that lying down and I had to challenge him to the best of 3.
Laser clays is just a more safe version of clay pigeon shooting.
You reload the gun just like a regular shotgun, but these ones shoot lasers. The clays come over in pairs and it's zap zap. You get 2 points if you hit the first one and 1 point for hitting the second. The winner is the first to 25.
Okay.
24, 22, pull!
Oh, you got
That's it! Yay!
Well done.
It was 1 each. We had to have a decider, and he'd saved the best for last. We got to race mini hovercraft around a course to decide who was the ultimate winner. Shocks away! They had this track set up for the mini hovercraft with various obstacles, including a stretch of river which you had to get into and out of. And on a couple of the practice runs, I managed to completely miss the exit from the river and get my hovercraft stuck on the bank.
You're mainly drifting the hovercraft rather than turning it, so it's all about having to steer it like a jet ski or a motorbike with leaning a lot of your weight.
You're not dealing with a predictable vehicle with 4 wheels or even 2 wheels. You're dealing with a big bag of air. After some trial and error, I managed to get around pretty fast. I felt pretty confident, had a decent time.
You beat your record anyway, so your fastest is at 1:53, okay?
That was pretty good. I was happy with that. But obviously, Ramada, who works there, was going to be a lot faster. All right, he's off. So he has the track record, which means he's at a massive advantage. Also, the lighter you are, the faster you go. So he's got an advantage over me on that as well. However, it also makes it more difficult to turn. So he's going to struggle a little bit more with the obstacles. We'll see how he gets on. Looks like he's already coming out of the water. He's doing really well here. I think this is going to be quite embarrassing for me. Here he comes. 1:27. So he beat me by 25 seconds. That is embarrassing. Well done, mate. Not only did you smash my time, but you almost beat the course record.
Really?
You're 1 second off the
1
course record.
second.
Yeah, 1:27.
Should we go get that coffee then?
Yeah, I owe you it. Come on. Cheers, mate.
As evening settles over Derry, I decide to dive into its famous Halloween celebrations, joining an old friend and fellow journalist who lives here, radio presenter Eve Blair.
You've told me about the Halloween festival, and I'm really excited to check it out.
I have finally got you here.
Right.
At long last.
I think Derry is perfect for this type of Halloween celebration because it's authentic. We don't have to create stories. We have the stories already. So when you're walking past the beautiful Georgian buildings and the old spooky cathedrals, you actually believe that these characters live there all year and they just appear to scare us on Halloween.
I think I'd rather jump off something than maybe do what we're about to do. So the haunted house is just over here.
All right, so let's go and check it out. It's your first time in the haunted house, even though you've been coming to the Halloween festival for decades.
Forever.
All right, listen, there's one way to get through this, and that's just start. We're going to just have to get started.
Just get started. It's the noise, the sound.
The scariest thing, I think, was that it was just so dark in there, and you couldn't see where you were going, and you didn't know what was happening. What is this? It felt like walking through a horror movie. It just got more and more scary the further you went into the house.
It's inevitable that something is going to jump out.
Where's the exit? Where's the... Oh! Eve, are you okay? And even though the entire experience lasted for less than 10 minutes, it felt way longer than that because you're just on lookout the whole time. Oh, my goodness me, that was terrifying, wasn't it?
Do you know, it was almost like that thing when you go on a roller coaster.
Yeah.
And you come off it and you're like, whoa, that was horrific. Let's go again.
It's incredible that the dramatic Causeway Coast and striking stretches like Downhill Beach are so close to the city.
Morning.
Morning, Jonathan. How are you?
Very nice to meet you.
Lovely to meet you as well.
What a setting.
Yep, welcome to Downhill Beach.
So my name's Hannah Patterson and I'm from Crindle Bespoke Experiences. We're a family-run business near Derry. So this is your guy here, Jonathan Rocky. He's very placid and kind in nature, and hopefully you're going to enjoy him. So
Great.
we are riding up towards the beautiful Mussenden Temple. It's a library and was designed by the Bishop of Derry, who was an architect back in the 1800s.
Right.
Beautiful setting for a nice ride.
Lovely.
It's a pretty big occasion now to be getting inside the Mussenden Temple, but
It's a stunning setting.
Yeah.
This whole place is stunning.
you couldn't beat it.
I'm a big fan of Game of Thrones myself, so it was a real thrill to be able to ride through this environment where they filmed the show. You can see why they filmed Game of Thrones here, because it has a kind of fantastical element to the coastline.
Definitely, yeah. So we have a little story actually about the Game of Thrones. So
Right.
at the time we were approached about, did we have somebody that looked like a monk and a lovely grey stallion to use.
I'm sure you did have a stallion, but where are you going to find the monk?
Well, the gentleman that owned the stallion was bald, so he did fit the description fairly well. So that was our involvement in the Game of Thrones.
The Northwest Carnival Initiative was a brilliant place to visit because this is basically a fun factory. It's where they're creating all of the costumes and the floats for the Halloween festival.
We work with a lot of the kind of creative mediums, no should that be dance, music, costume creation, and the production of props like these ones here. Derry's perfect for Halloween because we have always embraced Halloween as a festival, which was formerly the Celtic Festival of Samhain, a time of the year where the veil between our world and the other world is at its most thinnest. And we draw on the wonderful myth and legend associated with this time of year.
I was really lucky that they had a spare costume for me for Halloween because I turned up at the last minute. What stood out about Derry's Halloween festival was the passion displayed across the city in the makeup, costumes, and thousands of revelers packing these ancient streets for an entire week. Strolling into the city after dark, you'll find performers on every corner and even on the walls themselves. Everywhere there's this commitment, this shared energy and positive momentum. Everyone is fully committed to this unique celebration. It's the final night of the Halloween festival and the crowd is building for the grand finale, which is the Halloween parade. Got my costume, I'm ready to join the fun. I've just got to find Eve, and she said she was wearing a pretty serious costume, so I've got to keep my eyes peeled.
Jonathan!
Eve?
Yay!
Wow, you look amazing! Oh, that's awesome!
You look fab! I almost heard you coming before I could see you coming. Fabulous. I am loving the hat.
Makeup?
Well, it's a little different.
Yeah, it looks fantastic.
And you know, I think people take on a bit of crack and a bit of fun when they're dressed up.
And everyone seems to be really into it. People of all ages really embracing the fun.
Right, bring on the fireworks, bring on the parade.
It's the big finale. Going to the festival, it's great to just see this creativity, to see all of these people celebrating Halloween together. And these are great performers. That there was a drum troupe who were just incredible, and they'd flown in from Germany. There were performers flying in from Poland, all over Europe. These brilliant, creative people are coming here to Derry because this is the Halloween capital of the continent. And then that massive fireworks display to put a big celebratory exclamation mark at the festival's end. They just do this thing so well. You can see why thousands come from so far to experience it. Derry has it all. Rich history, fine architecture, creative verve, and breathtaking backcountry full of adventure. Home to Europe's ultimate Halloween festival, it's also arguably one of Europe's ultimate hidden gems.